So we've been trying to prove how did Rav Mishasha know this rule these rules that we mentioned about Rabbi Yossi against Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda against Rabbi Shimon, all these different rules governing who we follow, who we paskin like, and we had these kolam, we laid down these kolam, and then Rav Mishasha came along and said that we don't follow these kolam, that these kolam are not valid. Let's do the hani klali. So then we asked Minolei, how do we know that we don't need the rules? And we brought some cases where there was a statement against the rule. Well, Mor said that doesn't prove anything because maybe the rule is when there is no statement. If there's an official statement, then the rule would stand. And just because that wouldn't prove to Mishasha that indeed we don't follow. So, okay, so ready for the next. Welcome back. We're ready for the next attempt. 4 lines from the top of Mem Zayin Amin Aleph. El Mehadatan. Let's try another one. El Mehadatan. Let's try this Mishnah. Haminiach es Beisai. First we're flying through Eruvin, and now we're going to fly through some other areas, just an attempt to try to figure out where does he know that this rule is not a valid rule. El Mehadatan. Let's try this Mishnah. Haminiach es Beisai. Man leaves his house. This is also later on, Art Scroll 2, and Samach Beis. Man leaves his house and goes to dwell in another city. So he's going away for Shabbos. So if he's going away for Shabbos, you have to worry about him as far as connecting him and including him in the Eruv. Is that something that's required, or do you say he's not here, so we can proceed without him? If you leave one guy out of Eruv Chatzeros, that's it. You've blown the Eruv. You got to include everybody. Otherwise, it's not a joint Chatzer. So this guy left town for Shabbos. Whether it be a Gentile or a Jew, if he's a member of the Chatzer, he answers everybody else from joining. Divrei Rabbi Meir. These are the words of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says no, he does not, because once he left, you don't assume he's coming back. And Rabbi Yossi Nachri Oser, and Nachri can come back at any time. He could be sick of where he is and jump into a horse and buggy and come back. Yisrael ain't Oser, but Yisrael will not answer the rest of the people from carrying in the Eruv, in the Eruv Chatzeros, and using the Eruv Chatzeros, that it is not the way, it's not normal for a Jew to come back on Shabbos. If he went away for Shabbos, it would be highly unusual, highly unlikely for him to come back on Shabbos. You don't have to go to another city. Even if you went to your daughter's house in the same city, you wouldn't ask her, because your daughter's not going to throw you out. Your daughter-in-law, maybe that's a different story. You might get into a fight and she might send you home. But your daughter's not sending you home. Kibbut av aim, it's a little different, clearly indicating that it's the wife who makes the determination and not the husband. So it's the woman that matters, and with a daughter you're safe. With a daughter-in-law, not so much. But the point is that he says even the initial halacha was they went to another city. Now we're saying it doesn't have to be to another city; it can even be to the same city. And who's that? That's Reb Shimon. So you got Reb Yossi, you got Reb Shimon, you got Reb Yehuda, you got Rav Meir in this Mishnah. Yom Rav Chama bar Gur, Yom Rav Alach Reb Shimon. That we follow Reb Shimon. Now we follow Reb Shimon. Okay, that's fine and dandy. That's not the general rule, right? Uman Paul Reb Yehuda. Okay, and who argues? Who's the other opinion in this Mishnah? Rabbi Yehuda is another opinion, and yet we follow Reb Shimon against Rabbi Yehuda, going against the rule. V'amrit Rabbi Yehuda, Reb Shimon, Alak Rabbi Yehuda. So how could you go against the rule? We have a rule. Doesn't this prove that we don't follow the rule? Okay, so same deal. Same deal as the first 2 deals yesterday. Well, my kusha, what kind of proof is this? Just because you're going against the rule doesn't mean that there's no rule. It means that there are exceptions to the rule. So So again, I don't see any proof. The fact that there's an exception to the rule just means that there are exceptions to the rule. But when we don't say we follow Reb Shimon, then indeed we follow Rabbi Yehuda, and that would be the rule that would be in place. And we have no raya from these situations, or Mishasha could not have had a raya that the rule is not a valid rule. Let's take a look at Rashi. 3 lines from the top. Oser al bnei chatzero. He asks on the people the chotzer shlo yitzim b'teim l'chotzer, they cannot carry anything out from their houses to the chotzer. Nishyesh lo rishus b'chotzer, because he has rishus to go into the chotzer and he never merged with them. So that's a problem, and that will negate the heir from being valid. Even though he's not in the city right now, even though he's not in town, it would still be a problem. Okay, that's the first opinion. Right, that's Rav Meir's hardline opinion, that whether you're a guy, whether you're a Jew, whether you're in this town or whether you're in another town, it would not matter, you aser. Rabbi Yehuda next Rashi, Rabbi Yehuda Omer ain't oser. No, he's a hoyel vein a beer. He's not in town. He doesn't aser. He's not coming back. So you don't have to worry about him for the Shabbos. Nachri Yosef, then another opinion said, Nachri Osi Yisrael ain't oser. Right, Reb Shimon Omer. That was Rabbi Yehuda. Beir Nachri also, but the Nachri does. It's still Rabbi Yehuda. Ava Pishaina Beir, even though the Nachri is not in town, because he can come. Vein Zeh Hesach Min Alev, and he does not remove that thought process of possibly returning from his heart. It's part of his thought process that he might come back in the middle. But a Jew, once he leaves from here, there of Shabbos, and he doesn't come back from Friday, okay, he removes the concept of going back to his house from his heart, because he's not coming, so it's just not part of his thinking. So that's, you have to get to that lumdus. So Rashi is supplying the lumdus of, is there a resident here? So for this Shabbos, there is no resident because he's not connected to his house right now. He's completely severed his thought process from returning till Matzah Shabbos at the earliest. So there is no, so that allows us to look at it as if there's no person living there in this particular dira, and therefore it will not answer on the rest of the Bnei Chotzer. Okay, and then Reb Shimon adds in that even in the same city, Reb Shimon Omer, right, I feel as Beisai Volach Lishvois Eitzel Bita Bosa here. Okay, me'emesh, even if you went from Friday to go in the same town to your daughter, I feel Bosa, even that town. So it's still, that would be mutter because of the fact that you're Mesiach Das. You go into your daughter's house, you're not coming back till after Shabbos, and again, same lumdus, and that allows us to view that there is no person that's creating a problem in his chutzner.
A guy on Friday packing up his boat, and his camper with his boat, and you say to him, you're going to be coming back on Saturday, and he says, no, I won't be back till Monday or something. Then would the day would be good because he's not coming back. And no one's living there, quote, in the house. I mean, it's the same thing like the Jew not living there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It doesn't. If he says something, maybe it's different. I'm not sure. I guess we'll have to wait later on. This is all later on, so we'll have to wait for that. That's not the focus right now of this. We're just
focusing on the fact that the Jew isn't coming back, and therefore no one's living in the house. So the goy, you say, but he could come back on Shabbos because obviously the goy isn't bound by Shabbos. But if he's gone and not coming back,
right? Well, okay. I guess if it could be. Well, again, it's a question of how far we go with the loy plugs and like I said, but we're just bringing this in only for the rules. This is not the place where we're going to analyze the sugya. That's going to happen later on. But I hear the question is: do verbal statements make a difference or not? I hear the shaila. Rabbi Yehuda Pala Galeh, and in this brayso, so we have different opinions. Rabbi Yehuda argues with Rabbi Shimon, Dama bir acheres eina oser. Because he says in another city you don't aser, bosi you're oser, but he says in that same city you would aser the people of the city. Rabbi Yossi Nami Polula, okay, and Rabbi Yossi also argues. And Rabbi Yossi also is a powerful force in halacha that, according to the rules, Rabbi Shimon loses to Rabbi Yossi as well. Doesn't just lose to Rabbi Yehuda. El Chad Minay Nakat. He just picked one of the two, but he did not. He's not. We're not talking about Dafka Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yossi also would pose a proof that the rule is not being followed right here. Okay, so Zeu, that's weiter. Okay, so Gemara says it's not a proof, because like we've been saying, that's the third time now we've been saying it, that just because there's a rule, there could be exceptions, and when you go and you state an exception, then that doesn't prove there's no rule. So Elameiha, let's try another one. Let's try another Mishnah. The Tan says in the Mishnah, this is also later on, not much closer, and this actually is Art Scroll 1, because it's Mem Tes, so we're actually going to get to this before we start scrambling for another Gemara. Let's learn from here. Zeu she'amru ani ma'ariv baraglov. This is what's said, that an ani is allowed to make an erev with his feet. As if you are traveling and you're on the road and you want to make an erev, what do you have to do? Okay, do you have to put a piece of bread down where you are and say, this is my abode? Or do you say, I'm here, my feet are my abode, and my feet are what allows me to make my erev? So an ani certainly doesn't have to find a challah. He's got enough trouble finding enough food for Shabbos. Now he's got to use bread, for an erev. That's already putting too much pressure on the poor guy. So we say he's allowed to make an erev with his feet. Rabbi Meir ein anu. I'm sorry, Rabbi Meir Omer anu ein lanu el ani. So this is a rule that applies only to aniyim. It does not apply to a wealthy guy, to a non-ani, because he could afford challah, and we're going to make him take some food and make the erev that way, the conventional way. When you want to be kind of shvisa, you need some food there. So even though you're there right now, so maybe you'd argue it's superfluous. No, it's not superfluous. We're going to require you, unless you're not, we're going to require you to make an erev with food. Rabbi Yehuda said, I disagree with you, Rav Meir. It could apply to anybody, even a wealthy guy can rely on his feet to make the erev. The only reason why we instituted bread as a preference for the erev in terms of food is not to make it harder on the poor guys, but rather to make it easier. If you're an Ashir and you want to be kind of shvisa 2,000 amas to the west, in order to be able to go to that concert, to that chazan sing-off on Shabbos morning, so that we're not going to make you, the usher, go by yourself to be kind of shvisa. You can send your wealthy guy, you can afford to send a shliach to put down the erev for you. So the bread was actually a leniency that he represents you. If he's representing you, he just can't do it willy-nilly without something substantial to solidify the erev. So that's why we created this idea of bread. To make on the oshish leitzev v'arv baragov, he doesn't have to go out and make an erev with his feet. Okay, so we've got this machlokus between Rav Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. Does only an ani allow for bread, or that we don't make you make an erev with your feet? That only applies to an ani or even to an osher. So umasal Reb Chia barashi l'chia barav kamei derav, and this mission was learned by Reb Chia barashi in front of Chia barav, in front of Rav, and echad ani v'echad asher, and he said, no, both an ani and an asher are allowed to use their feet to make an erev. The asher doesn't have to use bread if he himself is there. V'yamolo Rav sayim banami, and Rav interjected as he's teaching this Mishnah to his son Chia, as Chia Barashi is teaching Chia Barav, and Rav chimes in the Amrit Sayim Banami Allah Rabbi Yehuda. Make sure you also mention that we follow Rabbi Yehuda in this machlokus between Rabbi Yehuda and Meir. Now, you need to tell me we follow Rabbi Yehuda. Do we not know based on the general rules that we learned in Amud Beis that we follow Rabbi Yehuda? So the fact that Rav is making this statement seems to be a raya that there is no such rule. Why would he have to make the statement if anyway you follow Rabbi Yehuda? I didn't say anybody asked a question because even when we said the rules, there are three different opinions. So the only one that these cases would be rayas to would be the one who says that halacha and Meirin came, that halacha and you. Remember we said two other opinions that it's only quietly or only after the fact. Well, here would be a simple answer why you had to say it, because in order to establish halacha publicly and openly, definitively, which but according to that first opinion, it would be only a raya against him. Of the three, but anyway, that's what I would imagine. I didn't see the kasha, but it seems to be an obvious kasha. So the fact that Rav had to say Allah Rabbi Yehuda, okay, tartalamli. Why would he have to say it again? Amr Rav Meir Rabbi Yehuda Allah Rabbi Yehuda. Didn't you say there's a general rule? Right, Rav Yochanan said there's a general rule that between Rav Meir and Rabbi Yehuda we follow Rabbi Yehuda. Well, my kusha, nice try again. See, I think your fourth try, but. I'm going to reject this one as well. Dilma Rav Lasilani Klali. That rule was said by Rabbi Yochanan. Rav Mishashi came along and said Rabbi Yochanan never said the rule. He never discussed Rav. Rav might not buy into the rules, but doesn't prove anything about Rabbi Yochanan. So therefore, B'chlal, I don't know what you're trying to bring from Rav, because Rav might not B'chlal buy into the rules. But Rabbi Mishashi wasn't talking about Rav. Hiluchar was saying it as a statement about Rabbi Yochanan that he never, this klal is not a reliable klal. Let's take a look at Rashi. Zeu she'amru b'pirkin this is in our perik, daf mem tes amud beis, anu ein lanu shach liknoi shvisa b'raglav, the whole concept that you're able to be kona shvisa with your feet, below Erev Pas without any putting down of bread for the Erev Elo Ani, only a poor person. Klaimar, meaning to say Mishu B'derech Ve'inam Pas. That concept, if you're on the road and you don't have any bread, that you're allowed to make an Erev with your feet, only applies to the Ani. But the Noshir has to find some piece of bread and make an Erev properly. Comes along Rabbi Yehuda and says, no. Echad Ashir, Hayoshev Beisa, Yimrot Leilach Bi'atzmu Lahachshach Sham, Al Chum Kanul Shvisa. If a person who's sitting in the house, he wants to go out and make for himself an area further away so he can go beyond the 2,000 limit, can do it. He can do it without a piece of bread. He can do it with his feet. Because the whole idea of requiring bread is only as a leniency for the rich guy. Okay, that we don't force him to make the tircha and make an air with his feet. And this rich guy is not, he's not used to schlepping out there and being kind of shvis with his feet. That we allowed pas to be used as a mechanism for him to appoint a shliach to make an air for him. So you need something substantial to make that erev, so we introduced pas. But it was only leniency. It wasn't. We didn't use it as a means. We didn't intend it for a means of being machmer on the poor guy. It's only a means of being makel. So certainly, if he wants to not have to use pas when he wants to make the erev with his own feet, that's perfectly permissible, and that's okay. Okay, so now we have this machlokes. Umasal Rav Chia Barashi l'masisa l'Chia Barav kamei derav. Rav Chia Barashi was teaching this Mishnah to Chia Bar Rav in front of Rav, and he said Echad Ani ve'Echad Ashim Milsad Rabbi Yehuda. He was speaking about Rabbi Yehuda's position, and Rav chimed in. And you should answer, and you should add to the sentence until we follow Rabbi Yehuda. Allah Rabbi Yehuda. Well, lamalei. Why would Rav have to then interject that we follow Rabbi Yehuda? The Rav Meir Polgala, because Rav Meir is the one who argues with Rabbi Yehuda. We already have the rule that when there's no official statement, as this Mishnah doesn't have an official statement, well, we follow Rabbi Yehuda. That's the rule that you just laid down. So if you don't say in a fair statement. We know the rule follows generally Rabbi Yehuda. So why would you have to make the statement again? To which Gemara says, I mean, it's a nice proof, but it's a proof to something that we're not trying to prove. Rav Lesley Lahani Klali. Rav doesn't hold to these rules possibly. Ushim de Rav Lesley Ka'amrit Lesneo. Rav Lesley Lahani Klali. Mishum de Rav Lesley Kamrit Lesnu. Rav Yochanan Kamalahu. Rabbi Yochanan. One more time. I'm not reading that right. Rav Lesley Klali. Maybe Rav doesn't hold of these reasons. Mishum de Rav Lesley Ka'amrit Lesno. In other words, no, you can't tell me. I guess you cannot tell me that because Rav doesn't hold it. That's what you were saying. That your point, Rav Mishasha, was that I want you to know that Rav doesn't buy into these rules. Okay, why? Because Rabbi Yochanan Kamalu. Because it was Rabbi Yochanan who said that rule. And whenever you have a machlokas between Rav and Rabbi Yochanan, we always follow Rabbi Yochanan against Rav between Rabbi Yochanan and Rav. So why would you tell me if Rabbi Yochanan lays down a rule and you want to let me know what, that Rav doesn't hold to that rule? Why would you let me know that? That's not a relevant thing for me to know because we have a rule. We always follow Rabbi Yochanan. So I said clearly, if Rav Mishash was coming to tell me we don't follow the rule, it was within the world of Rabbi Yochanan that we don't follow those rules, not in the world of Rav. Okay, that would be the relevant halachic world that we need to know about. So let's proceed. We're still not sure why Rav Mishash said what he said, and how did he know that we don't follow the rule of Rabbi Yochanan. So let's try again. I think number 5 and number 6 here. Let's keep going. Elam Yehadatan. So let's flip into Yavamis because, as we said, we like to fly through Shas a little bit. Elam Yehadatan. What about this mission? That says as follows: Hayavama lo tachlos v'tasyabim ad shulo shlosh chadoshim. It's a famous halacha that when a woman is going to start having a new relationship with a new man, namely like a Yavama, who is now going to marry or get chalitza and allow it to now remarry after chalitza, either one, you cannot receive that act of yibum or chalitza ad shihu shlosh chadoshim. You have to have 3 months pass by to make sure that there's no questions about who's the father. Okay, by yibum, obviously that's confusing. By chalitza, I guess the issue is her ability to remarry will become confusing. If there's a baby, you're not going to be sure who's the father of the child. Okay, so that applies to yibum chalitza. V'chein shar kol anoshim, so to all other women, lo yinasu v'yisarsu, they cannot get married through consummating the marriage, which is nesuin. Lo yisarsu, they can't even become betrothed ad shiu shlosh chadashim, until 3 months pass. This seems to be, according to this Tanakama, a very, very far-reaching, across-the-board rule, because clearly we can imagine many examples of where there's no chance that she might have gotten pregnant. Plus, especially if you're only betrothing, why can't you betroth? Betrothal is not relations. Nesuin is relations. So what's the point? Why does he say lois arsuv ad shisha chadashim? Okay, must be this is a far-reaching like plug echad psulos ve'echad bulos. Whether you're still a psula where you never consummated the original marriage, or you bula where you did. Echad almanos echad grushos. Whether it happened through a husband dying or a husband divorcing her. Echad rusas ve'echad asuos. Whether you're fully consummated or only in arusa in your first marriage does not matter. Okay, which seems to be connected to the whole basula thing. It doesn't matter. It's a across the board thing. All women must wait 3 months. We don't want to make distinctions. Okay, that's Tanakama. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, we don't have a name for the Tanakama at this point. Rabbi Yehuda Omer nesuos is arsu. If you had consummated your marriage, you can then get betrothed. V'arusos yinasu. Okay, Rabbi Yehuda takes a very pragmatic approach to this whole halacha. And let's see, are you a woman who could have been pregnant? Now, if you're in a suo, you could have been pregnant, then you can have erison. The arusa, if you only receive betrothal, yinasu, then you can have nesuin. Okay, chutz me'arusa shabud, unless you're in arusa in Judah, in Yehuda, they should leave by gaspo. Like we learned many times that they were allowed to have yichud in Yehuda. And if you're allowed to have yichud, then you can never be sure that they didn't have relations, because that's what yichud does. It certainly raises the possibility that they went too far. So that's the only exception. So Rabbi Yehuda takes a very pragmatic, exactly opposite approach as Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Rabbi Yossi says, Kol hanoshim yisarsu. So he says, if you're only doing erisin, go right ahead. All women are allowed to receive betrothal. Maybe doesn't say here why, but it could be, maybe we'll see Rashi, but maybe you're worried that you might lose out the opportunity, so you want to jump in and reserve her, so it's not to lose her as a possible wife. So therefore all women are allowed to receive erisin. You're not doing anything, you're just putting a ring on her finger. You're saying right Mekadeshesli, you're not having beer yet till later.
But now you only, if you decide if she's pregnant or whatnot, you're going to have to divorce her.
Why? She might be pregnant. She was married before. You don't have to divorce her for it. I mean, almost because you don't want a kid. I mean, then if you don't want a kid, you should wait. But you recognize she was married before. You want her regardless whether she's pregnant or not. You have to wait 3 months before you close the deal. But if you're not closing the deal and you're not worried about that earlier kid, the kid from the first husband, that it wouldn't bother you. So Kol Hanoshim Yisarsu. So Rabbi Yossi has a third opinion that all women are allowed to have erisin, chutz min almana, except one of these ladies, and that is an almana. Why? They evil, because for 1 month you need to be an avel. So what are you doing receiving kedushin already? Take it easy. Give your former husband at least 1 month. For mourning before you start grabbing some new kedushin over here. Okay, so that's the third opinion. Varminon. And we said, so that's the Mishnah. This is a Mishnah in Yevamis. Yes, Mem Aleph in Yevamis. We've got three opinions. Varmina and Rabbi Lazar loy olbe. And now we said about this that one day Rabbi Lazar loy olbe madrasha. Rabbi Lazar the Amayra did not show up in the Beis Medrash one day. Ashchel Ravasi, the Vikoyim. So Ravasi, he met Ravasi, who was there. So of course you miss the day. You want to find out, what did I miss? Right, so they didn't have Jupiter in those days to tell you, what they covered. So he needed to find out from Ravasi what it is that was discussed in the Beis Medrash. Amalei my Amar b'Bei Medrash. So he said to Ravasi, what was discussed in the Beis Medrash? Amalei says, you missed a lot. We had a whole big discussion, Yevamis, and he said, Amalei hachi Amar Rabbi Yochanan issued a definitive rule, halach Rabbi Yossi. Okay, we follow Rabbi Yossi. Okay, so if we're following Rabbi Yossi, what about the Tana Kama, right? We just had 3 opinions. So if we're following Rabbi Yossi, the inference was that the Tana Kama must have been Shitas Yachid. Because if the Tana Kama had been the Chachamim, which is a majority opinion, then that would have been a little bit doichik to say that we're following Rabbi Yossi. Michal, the Yichida Palagala. Sounds like it's a Yachid who argues with Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda. Is that a good inference? And he says, yeah, it is a good inference, and I'll prove it to you. Vatanya, I'll show you that indeed it's an individual opinion that is the one who says it's loy plug across the board, okay, which didn't have a name in the Mishnah, but now I'll show you that there is a name to that Tana, and that Tana is the Tana Yochid. It's only one. It's not the Chachamim. How will I show it to you? Let's learn this Brisa, okay, which is quasi re-explanation of the earlier Mishnah, only with some more details. Vatanya says in the Brisa, let's say she's a woman who was constantly running back to her father's house, and let's say she was in her father's house for the last 4 or 5 months before the marriage was somehow broken, and clearly she could not have been pregnant if she wasn't with the husband. The husband's staying here, and she's back crying in her daddy's house, so that's clearly a case where she could not have been pregnant. They were clearly sleeping in different rooms, and there was a big fight, and they had no connection whatsoever. Or the man was way too old to have kids. Or you're sick. Or she was sick. Or she was barren. Zakena, or she was old. All these situations where pregnancy is not an issue. Ketano, she was underage. Vailanis, or she was a woman who didn't have the simonim beyond 20. She had no simon of maturity, rendering her an islandess, which makes her incapable of having children. V'sheina ruleilet, or a woman who, due to some accident or some procedure, some other factor, cannot have babies. Osha hoyabayla chovish beis asur, her husband was serving in jail. Okay, that never happens to a Jew. So he was in jail. I mean, obviously in this case he wasn't guilty. No, just obviously the guy just took him. But bottom line is, he clearly could not have impregnated his wife in this time. Or she had a miscarriage after the marriage. Okay, in other words, clearly indicating after the husband already passed away, or after the husband divorced her, she miscarried again, clearly indicating that it could not have been a pregnancy here. Whatever pregnancy there was, just finished. In all these cases, even though there is obviously more than compelling reason not to be concerned for pregnancy, kulon tzrich lahamten gimel chadosh divrei of Meir. There you have it. The loy plug man of the Mishnah is Rav Meir of the Brisa, clearly indicating that's an individual opinion that says loy plug across the board, and we're not going to be making any distinctions whatsoever. We want this to be clear. No woman gets remarried until she waits 3 months. I don't want to hear any buts. No buts. Rabbi Yossi mater liores losem miyad. Rabbi Yossi says no. You're allowed to, in these situations, receive erisin and receive nesuin miyad. Okay, immediately, because these are you know that there's no pregnancy. So he takes a practical approach. Okay, so really,
the amount of time that a woman has to wait after her husband dies before she can be married.
You go say it again.
Forgetting about whether she's pregnant or not, there's no amount of time that a woman has to wait. I mean, you had mentioned that she's all over 30 days. So
other than that, no. Why should she have to wait?
I don't know.
I mean, yeah. There's the only as far to wait is either avelus or the concern that you're going to be confused as to who the father is. But other than those two reasons, no, there's no reason to wait. So what happened here? Rabbi Yosef Matil Osam Miyad. So Lomali. Okay, so now why would so the now so good. So we've established that indeed it's a shitas yachid. So okay, that's all fine and dandy. But the question is, why does anybody have to say Rabbi Yochanan clapped on the beamer? Right, that was what he said. What happened in yeshiva today? Rabbi Yochanan clapped on the beamer, so we follow Rabbi Yossi. Why do you have to tell me that? Isn't it V'amrit of Meir Rabbi Yossi? What about your general rule? So this, now we have a proof that this is Rabbi Yochanan, not Rav, making a statement of a repeating a rule that generally is already known to everybody. So what's the point? Okay, so L'chayr have a raya. Rabbi Yochanan now L'chayr from this story, Mishasha rather as a raya, that rule never took place. Rabbi Yochanan never made that rule, because if he made that rule, he wouldn't have to clap on the bima and say we follow Rabbi Yossi. Where it says I don't get it, and I don't see it. I think you're 0 for 7. Well, my kusha, why is that approved? Dilma lafuke mid Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel. Maybe Rav needs to exclude a different issue. It's not about his rule. His rule is intact, but there's another rule that he needed to exclude, and that is what Rav Nachman says in the name of Shmuel. The Omar who says, Allah Rav Meir b'gzeirosov. That he says that, granted, we never follow Rav Meir against Rabbi Yossi or Rabbi Yehuda, except when he makes a gzeira. When it's a question of concerns of things might fall apart and things might, we have to make gezeiras and gedarim and fences for situations based on protecting Klal Yisrael. In that regard, we do follow Rav Meir. In those cases, we do follow Rav Meir. This is a case of a gzeira. Okay, so we're gonna make a woman wait 3 months because of a concern that things are going to get confused. So, in order for us not to think that Rav Nachman, the name of Shmuel, is right, that we follow Rav Meir in those situations, he needed to make this statement so as to clarify his position in this regard. But in the other issue, when it's not a gzeira, he wouldn't have had to say anything. He never would have clapped on the bima. So we have not yet proven. I think, like I said, about 0 for 7. Roughly. So let's take a look at Rashi. Hayavam lo tachlot. Okay, so now we're back in Yavamas for a while. But Teich Gimel Chadoshim, Lamisa's Baila, within 3 months of her husband's death, from first time of Yavamas, Shema Muberasi. The reason is because maybe she's pregnant. But Chalitza's Muberasi and a Chalitza. So on the Yavamas, and you don't need what I said, on the Yavama, and she might be pregnant. If she might be pregnant, the chalitza is not going to be valid because, if she has a kid, then there's no point of yibum chalitza. So how could you do yibum chalitza when there's a potential avera, serious avera at hand with the yibum, and with the chalitza it might be unnecessary. If she ends up with the child, then you have to wait to see if there's a baby. And if you're going to ask me, well, just what's the big deal? Just a shoe and some spit. What's the big deal? Do chalitza. It doesn't cost you anything. Okay. Why don't you do chalitza before 3? Wait till after 3. Shim timsam uberes ain't it through chalitza? Okay. That if she is pregnant, then you don't need a chalitza. Im teleid vlad kayama. Okay. And if she has a viable vlad, then you don't need. Then it was in an irrelevant point. And if she doesn't prove to be pregnant, then you don't need another chalitza because you already got one.
That's the way the option of yibum, and wouldn't it be like there's no bracha here, but it's a bracha levatala. I don't know, it's a procedure levatala.
I said it's a shoe and some spit and some shoe, like what
Right, but I mean it's
a typical walk in the park. What's the bar?
But it's a doraisa. It's not a derabah.
But what are you not doing anything? If there was a derisa to breathe in the morning, so what are you doing? So I'm doing. I'm doing an act that Lamaisa avoids needing another act.
But I'm saying to you that this is what's done because you didn't want to carry on. Your brother's.
Okay.
Neshama or whatever.
Okay, so the two parts, either it's necessary or it's not necessary. If it's necessary, you did it. If it's not necessary, then go on in life and then move on. Okay, so there's no downside. If she doesn't prove pregnant, you don't need another chalitz. And if she has a miscarriage, then just do another one in case there is a miscarriage or some crazy guy from Maryland decides to Virginia. I'm sorry, do something crazy. Because maybe it would have been a vlad shekayama. Vena chalitza laosra lukuna. Okay, and it's not a chalitza to aser to kahuna. V'nimsa matzricha kruza kahuna. Okay, and you'll need a special announcement to say that this chalitza she received is not a valid chalitza because it wasn't necessary because there was a vlad shel kayama. So the chalitza now becomes an litzer chalei, and the Gemara says so fine. So let's make the cruise, make the announcement, because in other words, Rashi is bringing in the issue of Kohen can't marry a chalutza, and if she received chalitza, then she's going to knock out all kohanim. So he says the answer, and that's exactly the point. Since you're going to require an announcement, Dilma ikadav b'chalitza. Maybe there are those who were there by the chalitza v'lev b'achraza v'sava shor chalitza l'kohen, and that's why we don't do it, because people will think, oh, that woman who received chalitza now is able to marry a kohen. How did that work? So even though yes, we made an announcement, but maybe they didn't hear the announcement, and that therefore doesn't work. And that will be a problem. So in order to avoid the halachic confusion of thinking that a chalutza can marry a kohen, we didn't do it that way. Because that's the problem. That's the reason. So at the end of the day, Michael, you're right.
We avoided fake news.
Right, exactly. Lotus yabem shemum beresi, and of course you can't do yibim because maybe she's pregnant. She might be coming upon the wife of a brother, a sister-in-law who has, and she has kids. Rayolav kibbakaris, and there's a punishment of karis. But after 3 months in nikr b'shein muberes, that it's recognizable that there is no pregnancy here. In that case, otachot otas yabim, you can either do chalitza or you can do yibim. Okay, shar kol anoshim shema tele betoch tisha lemisas baila. Maybe you might be within 9 months of the first husband. Okay, Safik ben Shiva Lachrona, maybe it's a 7-month baby to the second husband. Safik ben Tishel Rishon, maybe, one more time. Maybe she's going to give birth within 9 months. okay, of the death, and if she does, you got a problem. You got a doubt. Savik Metisha ben Shivalach, or maybe it's a 7-month baby for the second husband. Savik ben Tisha Larisha, maybe it's a 9-month baby to the first husband. Ubin Avchana, and you need to distinguish between one father and another. It might be a yibum conflict in terms of knowing if you have the wrong father, you're might end up doing the wrong yibum, and that could be a devastating mistake, or some other devastating mistakes that can come out of not knowing who your father is. Depending on the relatives, of course. So you want to know who's other relatives you're related to. Okay, is it from? Are we related? Do we have a common father? Don't we have a common father? So it could be real important nafkaminas. So you want to know. Voice arsu, and nor can you get betrothed. The gods are abonon erisin atanasun, because it was a xera of the erisin atanasun. If we allow the betrothal, we might allow the consummation as well. Achas besulam farshasam. Whether they married them when they were psulos, whether they were married when they already had relations before, okay, maybe, or whether they became widowed or divorced from this husband, whether they became widowed or divorced from a betrothal state or from a consummated state. All these things don't matter. Either way, if the marriage was broken off either because of death or because of divorce, you have to wait 3 months. Even though you cannot get pregnant through betrothal, because in those days they didn't do betrothal through bia. Who goes Rabbanan Arusa Atunasu. Again, this is Xera. This was not in the Mishnah. There was no statement of Rav Meir. It was just said stam. And the other one says no. Yisarasu miyad aloy miabra. Okay, misheni toch gimel. She's not going to get pregnant from the second guy within 3 months because I'm only receiving the ring. V'im taylor betoch tes vade rishon. Who, and if there is pregnancy, it's obviously the first guy. Dim achron then shisha hu v'lo l'chayik. Okay, because you're only doing the eris, you're not doing the nesuin. You're going to wait 3 months, and therefore, once you're waiting 3 months for the nesuin, clearly there'll be no confusion. If she's pregnant, it's clearly from the first guy. Okay, Varusa said we'll pick this up tomorrow.